A very good morning to all the delegates and dignitaries present here. I, on behalf of the government, welcome you to the Tamil Nadu Global Investors Meet 9th and 10th September 2015. Well, today's seminar is based on Tamil Nadu Global Hub for Engineering. First of all, I would like to introduce you to the speakers of today's panel discussion and also request them to take their respective seats on the dais. First and foremost is Shri Thiru S.K. Prabhakar, IAS. Sir, please, if you can. He is the Principal Secretary to Government, Commercial Taxes and Registration Department, Government of Tamil Nadu. Now, Shri Ambud Sharma, IAS, Additional Secretary, Department of Heavy Industry, Ministry of Heavy Industries and Public Enterprises, Government of India. Now, I would like to invite on stage Mr. Harsh Tingra, Chief Country Representative and Whole-Time Director, Bombardier Transportation India Private Limited, New Delhi. Mr. K. Tamilmani, Director General Aeronautical Systems, Defense Research and Development Corporation, Ministry of Defense, Government of India. Mr. Venkatesh Chandrasekaran, CEO, WinMN Aerospace Private Limited. Mr. B. Pattabhiraman, Managing Director, GB Engineering Enterprises Private Limited and past President, Tamil Nadu Boiler Manufacturers and Users Association, Tiruchirappalli. Mr. R. Vivekananda, AVP and Head of Precision Engineering Division, Titan Company Limited. Mr. Arunakar Mishra, Convener, Aerospace Foundation of India and MD and CEO, Gensir Aerospace and Information Technologies Private Limited. Thank you all for coming. Firstly, the opening address will be given by Shri Thiru S.K. Prabhakar.
Good morning to all of you. Mr. Ambud Sharma, Additional Secretary, Department of Heavy Industry, Ministry of Heavy Industry and Public Enterprises. Dr. Tamilmani, Director General, Aeronautical Systems, DRDO. Mr. Harsh Dhingra, Chief Country Representative and Whole-Time Director of Bombardier Transportation India Private Limited. Mr. Venkatesh Chandrasekaran, Chief Executive of WinMN Aerospace Private Limited. Mr. Pattabhiraman, Managing Director of GB Engineering Enterprises Private Limited and past President of Tamil Nadu Boiler Manufacturers and Users Association, Tiruchirappalli. Mr. Vivekanandan, Head of Precision Engineering Division, Titan Company Limited. Mr. Arunakar Mishra, Convener, Aerospace Foundation of India and MD and CEO, Gensir Aerospace and Information Technologies Private Limited. The distinguished members who are present here and the delegates who are part of this Global Investors Meet, I welcome all of you for this pleasant morning program here. Thank you for participating in this Global Investors Meet in a big way and making this program a very big success. As part of Global Investors Meet, several seminars have been organized to facilitate stakeholders to interact with the experts from their respective fields. As a part of that, today we have met here to know in detail about the engineering sector and the progress and the opportunities available in this sector. I stand here before you representing Commercial Taxes and Registration Department. I am also the MD of Tamil Nadu Industrial Investment Corporation, which is one of the oldest financial institutions in our country. This TIIC was established in the year 1949 and it has been playing a leading role in financing engineering sector and manufacturing in Tamil Nadu since 1949. It has assisted more than 118,000 units in its course of last 6 decades, with financial assistance to the tune of 13,100 crores. Last year alone, it sanctioned about 1,500 crores, facilitating nearly 2,000 units to establish and expand their operations. 90% of the assistance by TIIC goes to MSME sector, and nearly 40% of that goes to the first generation entrepreneurs. In fact, TIIC is was a household name in the manufacturing sector pre-80s, because this was the only major financial institution available at that point of time. Of course, now with the expansion of banking facilities extended by almost all the public sector banks, financing is available for manufacturing sector from various sources. TIC has certain special advantages. It combines the subsidy schemes of government, both central and the state government, and it acts as a nodal agency for most of the schemes of Government of India as well as state government. The state government has announced a 3% interest subvention scheme also, which enables loan to be offered at a lesser rate of interest compared to banks by TIIC. We are also the agency for NEED scheme, the new entrepreneurship development scheme of Government of Tamil Nadu, in which for first generation entrepreneurs, subsidy is available to the tune of 25% of the capital cost, subject to a ceiling of 1 crore investment. TIIC gives loan up to 30 crores, particularly to MSME sector. It's no bar to extend to even large scale sector also. However, our focus will be on MSME sector. As far as commercial taxes is concerned, again, a lot of facilities are extended to industries in the front of commercial taxes. It is given as input capital subsidy or as a refund of the tax paid up to the level of even your entire 100% investment. Similarly, in registration department, stamp duty concessions are given for your land acquisition, and especially in southern districts, much higher rate of subsidy is given both in terms of commercial taxes as well as in registration department. I think all these packages you will be familiarizing yourself during the course of these 2 days, and when you discuss with our guidance bureau and other industrial representatives, we will be able to educate you more on the various financial assistances which are available, incentives which are available to the manufacturing sector in our state. We have our general managers and other representatives from TIIC who are present here. There is a stall of TIIC also which is put up in this as a part of Global Investors Meet in this exhibition. So I urge upon you to visit these stalls and get more details on the various assistances which are available. Now coming to the topic of today, Tamil Nadu is a leading industrialized and urbanized state. All of us know that very well. And the advantage of Tamil Nadu is we have a widespread base within Tamil Nadu in manufacturing. Unlike IT sector or other sector which are focused in a few key areas of Tamil Nadu, we have manufacturing sector which is present almost all across the state. We have huge clusters in Chennai, we have clusters in Vellore, we have clusters in Salem, clusters in Coimbatore. Trichy is again a very big manufacturing base with BHEL's heavy presence there. Madurai is a very big manufacturing area. So we have a vast network of manufacturing base which is available in our state already, well-developed manufacturing base. Again, the strength of Tamil Nadu, we don't have to overstate the importance of human resources that are available in Tamil Nadu. We have a vast network of, again, engineering and technical institutions which produce more than 7 lakh trained human resources available for our engineering industry every year. Actually, our people are available for the whole world. Even not only for Tamil Nadu, our engineers go all over India as well as to all parts of the world. We have the largest number of engineering colleges, largest number of polytechnics, largest number of ITIs. I think these networks are really vast spread, and some of them have very good research initiatives also. And they have very good industry collaboration over a period of several decades. So these strengths will be really useful in taking manufacturing sector forward. As far as current position of Tamil Nadu is concerned, Tamil Nadu stands second in general purpose machinery as well as special purpose machinery manufacture in the country. Tamil Nadu's contribution is 18% as far as general purpose machinery is concerned and 11% as far as special purpose machinery is concerned. In heavy electrical machinery, we stand fifth in the country, contributing 6% of the share to the whole country's output. We also have 23 electronic hardware technology parks in our state, which are which are again doing very well. And several incentives have been announced for electronic manufacturing also. We have among us a diverse range of speakers. We have Director General from the Defense Research and Development Organization. We have many representatives from aerospace engineering also. That is one of the emerging areas in Tamil Nadu, and Tamil Nadu is likely to play a key role in this sector also in the years to come. We have a representative, Mr. Pattabhiraman, from boiler manufacturing sector. He is one of the units assisted by TIIC, I am told, and one of the successful entrepreneurs who has utilized the incentives of government and has made it a real success story for all of us to emulate. I think we will be very happy to hear from all these leaders who are present here. I request the speakers here to make a brief presentation about their respective topics, and then as the meeting progresses along, we will be ready to take questions towards the end on not only topics which are related to what is being spoken about us, any other general specific doubts regarding investments you have, we will try to clarify to the best of our ability, and we will guide you to suitable persons also. With these few words as part of my opening remarks, I will be requesting other speakers to speak now. I think Mr. Harish Dhingra wants to leave for another seminar shortly, so we request him to make the first presentation. Welcome, sir. Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Prabhakar, for giving me the time to speak first, because I have to go out for some other seminar. Just to give you a brief about Bombardier Transportation, in case some of you people you don't know. Bombardier is a Canadian company. We have two verticals, aerospace as well as transportation. And India, we are present in both the verticals as far as the business in India is concerned. And I will just give you a brief about what all we do in India. It's a 20 billion US company based in Canada, as I said. We have about 75,000 people working all over the world. Out of the 75,000 people, 37,000 belongs to transportation, and about 1,400 people are working in India. And again, in about all over the world, we have about almost 14,000 engineers working for us, out of which 8,000 are there in the field of transportation, and about 400 engineers are working directly employed by us in Bombardier Transportation in India, as well as about 700 engineers working with our associate company, Cyient in Hyderabad. And why I'm talking about this engineering is because engineering skills which is available in India is fully exploited by our international operations all over the world. That is why we are using engineering as a hub for us in India to develop the new kind of a platform design for all the trains which we are supplying internationally. Just to give you a business, what kind of business we do all over the world, majority of the business in our case of transportation comes from Europe, which is 67%. Asia Pacific contributes only 11%. I exclude China from here because majority of the business that we do in China is the JVs with the Chinese companies. And if I exclude China, we are number one in the field of transportation, supplying number of trains or metro trains or EMUs and the high-speed trains all over the world. This just gives you a portfolio of what all product that we manufacture for transportation, whether it is rail vehicles, transportation system, signaling system, propulsions, bogies, which are heart and brain of the trains. I will just give you a brief about the journey in India. We started our operation in the name of Bombardier somewhere in 1997 in India, in the state of Gujarat, when we gave a technology to Indian Railways for supply, for manufacture of locomotives. So you see, Indian Railways were looking for a newer type of technologies, and they decided to go ahead with a European company and absorb the technology over the next 5 to 7 years, which has helped them to start manufacturing these locomotives now in India. Currently, all these electric locomotives which are manufactured by Indian Railways, the technology is provided by Bombardier to them. And number of engineers from railways are trained in our facilities in Europe for design concept, for manufacturing, for production, and also for maintaining these locomotives. In 2007, we set up a new factory in Gujarat for manufacture of metro trains. This requirement came from the contract which we received from Delhi Metro, where the requirement was to have a setup in India for supply of the trains. So we decided to take that contract and set up a factory in Gujarat in 2007. That time also we had a choice of setting up a factory anywhere in the country. It can be Tamil Nadu, Andhra or other places which we have seen. But that time we decided to go ahead with Gujarat because we already have a manufacturing setup and which makes the electrical equipment that goes in the manufacture of the trains. So we decided to go for the factory in Gujarat. But that doesn't mean that we do not have a presence anywhere else in India. We have a presence in Chennai as well because we are supplying electrical equipment that goes in the manufacturing of EMU trains at ICF Chennai, which is Indian Railways part, and we do all the erection of electrical equipment in the trains in Chennai. We have about 50 engineers working here, and these trains are currently running as EMUs in Mumbai. So we have invested almost like 100 million in India over the last about 10 to 15 years, and major investment, as I said, came in 2007. And future expansion of Bombardier is now dependent on the kind of opportunities that we see all over the India. And southern cities are important for us because in addition to Chennai, Coimbatore, Vijayawada, Visakhapatnam, Amravati, expansion of Hyderabad or the new Chennai-Bangalore high-speed line which is being planned, all these opportunities gives some kind of encouraging thoughts to us that why don't we have a setup in southern part of the world, southern part of the India, where we can manufacture these trains. As I said, the current Mr. Modi government is always talking about Make in India. So Bombardier is a clear-cut example of Make in India because it's a FDI which has been invested in India. We are making product for India, for Indian market, which we supply to railways as well as for the metro organization. And also we are now the #1 company from India to export the cars from India to the Australian market. We are already exporting the bogies, which is a part of the train sets, but now we are going to export the cars to Australia, which is going to be the first one from India. This is the facilities which we have created in Savli, which is in Gujarat, which was set up in a short period span of 18 months. And one of the best thing which is about this facility is that the manufacturing setup which has been created is world class, which is comparable with what all we have got in European part of the world or even the America. So from India perspective, if we find that the manufacturing setup which is created by Bombardier is equivalent to what we have in other part of the world. This is just a look of the facility which is there in the Gujarat. As far as the business that we do for Delhi Metro, as I said that in our factory in Gujarat, we have about 300 engineers working, which are doing the basic design engineering work related to the supply of trains, as well as the signaling system. We are currently #1 player of metros in Delhi Metro. We have almost 600 cars which are running there. We have almost 50% of the current Delhi Metro lines are supplied by the signaling system which is developed and designed and delivered by us to Delhi Metro. This just shows the milestone on how the factory gets created and how the factory start producing the cars. In 2007 September, the land was allocated, and somewhere in 2009, the first car came out from that factory, which is a record in itself that within 18 months from a greenfield project like the complete land was given to us, we have started producing the cars from Gujarat. Now, what is the contribution that we have given to India at this stage? That is, first is, as I said, FDI. Then we have also created the skill set of the people, especially the engineers as well as the labor, because some of the technology which is adopted by us is world-class technology, especially in the field of welding, designing, production engineering, and all those people who have been recruited by us have undergone training in our international operations. Whenever we recruit engineers in India, in fact, for the last 5 years, we are recruiting almost like 50 engineers per year from the colleges directly. We call them young talent. We send them abroad for training. And in spite of the attrition rate, high attrition rate in India, about 10 to 12% in the field of engineering, today out of this, for the last 5 years, almost 80% of engineers are still working with us. That shows that the amount of investment that we have made on the engineers, they have started contributing back to us in Indian operation as well as our international operations. Similarly, for welding technologies, the kind of labor that we have recruited, they have been trained in India as well as our international factories, and now they are well equipped to handle the advanced welding technology which is required to manufacture these trains in India. This just give you just idea about the manufacturing facilities, a robotic manufacturing equipment which have been installed by us. These are again some of the facilities which I thought of sharing with you, which is there. And then the trained and motivated workforce which is working for Bombardier at this stage, as I said, about 1,200 working, and which is ramped up to almost like 1,500 in the next 3-4 months' time because of the project which we are executing at Delhi, Chennai, and Mumbai. Our focus has been to localize the product in India. Why we say localize the product in India? Because the life cycle of this train is somewhere around 30 to 35 years. When we supply and manufacture trains, it has a warranty obligation for 2 to 3 years. Then the operators start operating the train on its own. Unless you have the local supply of components from Indian resources, the operators will have difficulty to maintain the trains. So what we have done is all our international suppliers who have been supplying the equipments or component or assemblies to us, we have made request to them to set up the factories in India. Today you will be glad to know that the 2008, it was 100% imports which was done as well as the trains were concerned. Today almost 80% of the components are sourced from India, which shows that localization is an important factor for manufacture these trains, which helps during the manufacturing stage to make it cost competitive and also for the operator to maintain the trains for the next 30 years. What is the way forward now? Today, if you see majority of the cities in India, especially as per the directives of Ministry of Urban Development, which is saying that any city with a population of more than 2 million should have their comprehensive transit system, which include the train system. So we have solutions for that. We have the metro trains, conventional metros, heavy metro, light metros, monorails, LRVs, trams, which can be supplied to any of these markets. And this market is evolving. Delhi Metro was the first one. You have yourself seen in Chennai. The project is ongoing, and we expect in another 2 years that first phase will be over. Then second phase will start. Coimbatore is talking about a monorail system. Chennai is talking about monorail system. So all these opportunities gives opportunity to a company like Bombardier to invest further in India. So we have a state-of-art manufacturing facilities which can be expanded in Gujarat, and as I said, depending on the requirement which comes from the operations from the southern part of India, there is a possibility that there is investment that will come in the southern part of India. And as I was reading the ASSOCHAM report, Tamil Nadu is among the front runner for that, because the kind of infrastructure, kind of facility that has been created by Tamil Nadu government that will help us to look at the second option of setting up a factory in the Tamil Nadu. Now, this is something which is important for us. Mr. Prabhakar, you mentioned about incentive, you mentioned about subsidies. We as a company do not want any incentive or subsidies. We want right kind of infrastructure to be provided to us. We want the skill set of the people should be available to us so that we can recruit them, train them, and make them good engineers for us. Subsidies and incentives help us in the initial phase, but in case the project is set up on time, like I said, in Gujarat we have set up in 18 months because the infrastructure which was given to us was right. If you create that kind of infrastructure, if you create that kind of manpower skill for us, we are not interested in incentive or subsidies. We are more interested that timely clearance for all the projects are given so that we can set up the factories and start producing the factory, because any delay in setting up the factory is a huge cost for any industry to set up. So we are more keen to have this right kind of infrastructure which is given to us where we can set up the factories. So that gives us the confidence that today, from the infrastructure point of view, roads, ports, vendors, because majority of vendors are based in South, power, manpower skills, you mentioned about the engineering institute, highest number of engineering institute in Tamil Nadu, manpower skill, security, I think it's a more stable state, industrial relations. I don't think in any part of India except in Tamil Nadu we have issues of industrial relations that is coming up. And ease of doing business. If these things are taken care, obviously companies like Bombardier, multinational, would like to invest in Tamil Nadu. And being a corporate social responsibility, we undertake a lot of activities for providing opportunities to underprivileged, for providing the opportunities to the school kids so that they are socially aware of the transport solution which are available. And these are activities we keep on undertaking all over India. especially in the cities and also in the villages, and we are also contributing in our own way in the Clean India movement. So corporate social responsibility is something which is important, which every corporate does, and we also contributes towards that. That's all from my side. Thank you, Mr. Prabhakar, for giving the time. I think I will move now, but I will join you after half an hour so that we can take the questions that time. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the interesting presentation, Mr. Harsh Dhingra. I request Mr. Ambush Sharma, Additional Secretary, Department of Heavy Industry, to make his keynote address.
Very good morning to all of you, our distinguished speakers on the dais and participants. I come from the national government, central government, and Ministry of Heavy Industries and Public Enterprises, which is very much related to the whole subject of engineering and heavy engineering, so to say. Our ministry at the central level looks after some of the major key sectors of heavy engineering, including auto, heavy engineering, and heavy electrical, and also the capital goods industry, which is called the mother of all industries. Speaking from the national level, I would like to take and present a picture of potential and opportunities available in this whole sector, and what the national government at the central level is doing and can do. Of course, the whole picture of Tamil Nadu fitting into the jigsaw puzzle is obviously there, and with all the intrinsic capabilities and strengths of this state in better infrastructure. I will not say best or perfect infrastructure. Nowhere in any state in the country we have perfect infrastructure and perfect ecosystem, but we have one of the best ecosystems in Tamil Nadu. So definitely with higher education, with technical education, with skilled manpower, with enabling kind of setup at the government level, obviously Tamil Nadu would be well placed to receive and to capitalize on all those opportunities. Some of the initiatives which at the central level we are taking to boost the whole sector is one of the major schemes is our NATRIP scheme. This is to set up 7 centers of state-of-the-art world-class facilities for automotive testing and homologation. And one of the centers is in Oragadam, very close to Chennai, where we are putting at least about 700 crores worth of out of this 3,800 odd crores. And this will give a big fillip to development of new products both in the auto component and automobile space. And we all know we have leading auto players here in the form of Ford, Hyundai, Ashok Leyland and others which can take advantage of this. We have also launched a new scheme of electric mobility, which is to launch electric vehicles in the country in a big way. And by 2020 we have an aim to have about 6 to 7 million electric vehicles, 2-wheelers, 3-wheelers, 4-wheelers on roads per year from 2020 onwards. And we are already working with a couple of manufacturers. One is in Coimbatore, which manufactures, and the name is Ampere. They manufacture 2-wheeler pure electric vehicles. In near Chennai, Ashok Leyland, we are working with them to have hybrid and pure electric buses very quickly on the roads within the next 6 months or so. So is there a lot of opportunities there for investors and for manufacturers and ancillary industries to step in. We also have a big scheme in our ministry, about 581 odd crores for 2 or 3 years between 2015 to 2018. We are in the middle of it. That is to aid the Indian capital goods sector. Capital goods sector is the mother of all industries. And we have about 17 subsectors in that: paper machinery, jute machinery, cement machinery, textile machinery, heavy electrical equipment machinery industry, etc., etc. So there we are in this 581 odd crore worth of outlay. We are providing advanced facilities for common facilitation, for designing, for technology assistance to companies who can take advantage. And I am sure a number of cluster groups in Tamil Nadu would be able to take advantage of this. And we are working with Coimbatore cluster to develop a good project for them. We have a mission plan for 2022 for heavy electrical equipment industry, which is poised to, as per our mission plan, from the level of 2012, when it was about 25 billion US dollars. In the next 10 years, that is by 2022, we hope and aim to grow this industry to fourfold to about 100 billion. And that is where the big headroom is, and a lot of electrical equipment manufacturing companies in Tamil Nadu would be able to take advantage. We have a huge skill development program as well as a capital goods policy which is likely to come soon. Under the automobile mission plan, we had a first mission plan in the last 10 years, 2006 to 16, which has really catapulted India to be one of the